A little high.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranama Gushi Prabhupada. Let me call you right.
Hare Krishna. All glories to Srila Prabhupada, just adjusting everything.
All glories to Sri Guru and Gauranga. There you go.
Jaya Radha Madhava Kunda Bihari Jashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Jashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Jamuna Tira Banachari Jamuna Tira Banachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunda Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Banachari Yamuna Tira Banachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunda Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunda Bihari
YouTube creators, if no one clicks your video, nothing else matters. Not your content.
Hare Krishna.
Sorry about that, dear devotees. Hare Krishna Prabhuji, thank you so much for being here as always.
Hare Krishna.
We're very grateful to have your association once again.
I also am very grateful to have your association.
Hare Krishna. Thank
Hare
you so
Baba.
much, Prabhuji. Dear devotees, we thank you all. Today is Thursday, the 19th day of March, 2026. I think tomorrow officially is the beginning of spring. So yeah, we're very happy to get out of the winter season. Well, probably I think we have 2 or 3 verses to cover today.
Yes,
so,
yes.
Yeah. We may put the verses on the screen and you take it over from here, Prabhuji. Thank you so much.
Haribo.
Hare Krishna.
I think it's Canto 3, Chapter 16, Text 33. So I'll just do the invocation prayers and then we'll dive in. It's, yeah. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskricha Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswati Vyasa Tato Jayamudirayat Nasta Preshu Abhideshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki. The entitled chapter, Jai and Vijay Cursed by the Sages. 16th chapter, Canto 3, text 33, 34, and 35. Text 33. Tau tu girvana rishabho dustara dhari lokataha ata shriyo brahma shapad abhutam vigata sumayo. Tau, those two gatekeepers, two, but Girvana Rishabho, the best of the demigods, Dushtarat, unable to be avoided, Hari Lokata, from Vaikuntha, the abode of Lord Hari, Hatashriyo, diminished in beauty and luster, Brahma Shapat, from the curse of a Brahmin, Abhutam became Vigata Smayo, morose. Translation by Srila Prabhupada. But those two gatekeepers, the best of the demigods, their beauty and luster diminished by the curse of the Brahmins, became morose and fell from Vaikuntha, the abode of the Supreme Lord. 34. Tada Vaikuntha Dishana Tayor Nipatamanayo Ahakaro Maha Asid Vinagriyeshu Putrakaha. Tada. Then Vaikuntha of the Supreme Lord, Dishanat from the abode, Tayoho, as both of them, Nipatama were falling, Haha Karaha, roaring in disappointment. Mahan, great, as it occurred. Vimana Agriyeshu, in the best of airplanes, Putrakaha, O demigods. Then, as Jai and Vijay fell from the Lord's abode, a great roar of disappointment arose from all the demigods who were sitting in their splendid airplanes. So, a comment I'd like to make here is that people think they're so advanced that now they have airplanes and jets flying around the world. But here we learn in the pages of Bhagavatam that there are many vipanas, airplanes. We know that Kardama Muni, he built an entire aerial mansion for his wife Devahuti just by mystic power. He created an airplane that was more of a city. It had gardens, it had very waterfowl, exotic plants and flowers and fruits, palatial buildings made of marble and gems and rubies and sapphires. What are they so proud about? Now they make these metal things that fall out of the sky. So Prabhupada calls it Ugra Karma. Activities in the mode of ignorance, like Prabhupada said, factories, nuts and bolts. These are all things that are in the mode of ignorance and exploiting the people for the sake of a few aristocrats who enjoy their labor. So text 35, Tav eva hyaduna prapto Parshada Pravaro Harehe Diter Jatara Nirvishtam Kasyapam Teja Ulbaram. Those doorkeepers, those two doorkeepers, Eva, certainly, he addressed, Aduna, now, Prapto, haven't gotten. Parshada Pravaro, important associates. Hare, of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Dite of Diti. Jatara, womb. Nirvishtam, entering. Kashyapam, of Kashyapa Muni. Tejaha, semen. Ulbanam, very strong. Srila Prabhupada's translation and purport. Lord Brahma continued. Those two principal doorkeepers of the personality of Godhead have now entered the womb of Diti, the powerful semen of Kashyapa Muni having covered them. Here is a clear proof of how a living entity coming originally from Vaikuntha Loka is encaged in material elements. The living entity takes shelter within the semen of a father, which is injected within the womb of a mother. And with the help of the mother's emulsified ovum, the living entity grows a particular type of body. In this connection, it is to be remembered that the mind of Kashyapa Muni was not in order when he conceived the two sons, Hiranyaksha and Hiranyakashipu. Therefore, the semen he discharged was simultaneously extremely powerful and mixed with a quality of anger. It is to be concluded that while conceiving a child, one's mind must be very sober and devotional. For this purpose, the Garbhadan Samskara is recommended in the Vedic scriptures. If the mind of the father is not sober, the semen discharge will not be very good. Thus, the living entity wrapped in the matter produced from the father and mother will be demonic, like Hiranyaksha and Hiranyakashipu. The conditions of conception are to be carefully studied. This is a very great science. Om Jnana Timirandasya Gena Gena Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Gena Tasmai Shri Gurube Namaha. Oh, glory to Srila Prabhupada. So the episode of Jai and Vijay being cursed by the four Kumaras who had sauntered to the seventh gate of the Vaikuntha planets. And Jai and Vijay, by the hand of Providence, were influenced by anger. How dare you? You can't just come into Vaikuntha. You have to qualify. So, of course, we know that being angry because their desire to see Lord Vishnu was frustrated, they cursed Jai and Vijay to take birth, and they chose to become demons in 3 incarnations. Now, you might come to realize that actually Krishna has a fighting spirit. And when he wants to fight, he comes to the material world because there's no real fighting in the spiritual world. Everyone is in ecstasy, associating with the Lord, even in the Vaikuntha, either in the Vaikuntha planets or in Goloka Vrindavan, where the Lord is surrounded by millions and trillions of goddesses of fortune. His flute can be heard everywhere. Walking is dancing, talking is singing, and time is conspicuous by its absence. So, ete chamsakala pumsam, Krishna's tu Bhagavan Swayam. Indrari vyakulam lokam mridyanti yuge yuge. The Bhagavatam Sukadev Goswami tells us that the Lord appears again and again, Indrari Vyakulam Lokam, to protect the demigods and to do battle and diminish the influence of the demoniac class of men. Krishna's too, Bhagavan Swayam. He's the independent Lord. So Ajopi San Avyayatma Bhutanam Ishvaropi San. He's unborn and he doesn't expire, but he comes here in the material world in his human-like form. Avajanti Mammudha Manusham Tanam Ashritam Param Bhavam Ajananto. Although Krishna is the supreme Lord of all living beings, he's the Lord of all the universes, and there's the Ramadi Murti Shukala, there's so many incarnations forming just like waves in an ocean throughout his universe, the material world. And he's engaging in all kinds of activities to protect his devotees and to diminish and kill the demons, right? So this may have been an arrangement of providence because it says not a blade of grass moves without the sanction of the Lord. So in a sense, indirectly, these demons are taking birth. They're actually devotees of the Lord. He wants to have this fighting spirit, it originates in the Lord, and he wants to have some battles. So the Lord kills Ravana during a great battle. And the lesson is that Ravana, although he's born in a Brahmin family, he got corrupted. So the theme here is that one should be very careful when conceiving children. And the background of it is that Diti was overwhelmed by lust and she approached Kashyapa Muni. She was very extremely beautiful, the daughter of Daksha, and her sisters, they all married to this great Muni. But it was the wrong time to conceive a child. Kashyapa Muni was in meditation. Prabhupada mentions that actually he was in Brahman realization, Brahman meditation. And therefore, he was not very strong compared to a great devotee of the Lord. And so she was able to seduce him, and he became very frustrated that he had injected inside of her womb with his semen, with seed, at the wrong time, bad circumstances, and so on. So, Varna Shankara, the result of unscientific impregnation of one's wife causes unwanted population in the world. Varna Shankara, unwanted population, those who are influenced by the lower modes of nature, passion and ignorance. And therefore, they cause trouble and disturbance within the world. Duskritina, mischievous persons. And so the one theme throughout the Srimad Bhagavatam is this situation where a demoniac class of men sometimes have great power, like Maharaj Vena. He was the grandson of a death personified, the father of Sunita and the wife of Maharaj Angira. And Vena was such a demoniac fellow, although he was a descendant of Dhruva Maharaj, that ultimately the Brahmins had to kill him by Brahma Tejas, simply by their words, by sound vibration, they killed him. So devotees of the Lord, their mentality is prepared by Garbhadan Samskara. They actually perform yagya, Sankirtan yagya, Kirtan yagya. They chant the holy names of the Lord 50 rounds. They get the blessings of Guru. They get the blessings of the Vaishnavas, that they can attract a saintly person into the mother's womb, into the family. Shine punye marchalokom vishanti Praptipuna kritam loke usitva sarvikil vishai. Suchinam Shimatam Gehe Yoga Bhashta Pujayate. So Krishna tells Arjuna in the Bhagavad Gita that unsuccessful yogi, it's not wasted. He performs great austerities and so on. And he takes birth in a family of pious personalities in the mode of goodness, or into a wealthy family, and continues on in his bhakti yoga. There is no loss or diminution on this path. So if devotees practice Krishna consciousness properly, if we're chanting the holy names properly, glorifying the Lord properly, we're purifying our consciousness, and therefore we're producing children who are of a saintly nature. Therefore, it is very, very great responsibility for us to remain very Krishna conscious, and that Krishna says, Dharma viruddha bhuteshu kamosmi bhartarshava. I am sex life, which is not contrary to religious principles. That Krishna himself, God himself, is saying that sex is I am, that sex life, which is used to produce God-conscious children, done in the mode of goodness, proper time and place, proper circumstance, without any kind of motive, materialistic motive, desire to enjoy, and so on. So that's the mood. So whatever we do, we have to yat karoshya dashnasi. Whatever we do, we want to do it in the service of God. Whether it's sex life, or like it's described that Hanuman, he used anger in the service of the Lord to fight against the Rakshasas. Arjuna, he also used anger in the service of the Lord. So we can have Krishna conscious children also in the service of the Lord. This is very interesting. Vaishnavira Kriya Mudra Vigdehaya Na Vujhaya means that one cannot recognize a devotee of the Lord very easily. He may have many children, like Bhaktivinoda Thakur. He had so many, 11, 12 children. His son was a great, great Acharya, great, great Mahabhagavat. Certainly Maharaj Prataparuja, he was a king with many, many wives. He had many wives. He was a king. And Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu knew that he was a pure devotee of the Lord. Jnana Vijnana Triptatma Kuchasto Vijitendriya. Samaloschasma Kanchana. A devotee of the Lord is full of devotion to Krishna, and he sees a stone and gold or a pebble as all the same, all related to Krishna. Samaloschasma Kanchana. He sees gold, stone, or dirt, all equal because they're all part of Krishna's energy. So Maharaj Prataparuja, he saw his kingdom as the property of the Lord. Krishna is the proprietor, Krishna is the master, Krishna is the friend, Krishna is the maintainer, given by Rupa Goswami. We have to see the Lord in this way. So Maharaj Prataparuja, he wanted to meet Lord Chaitanya. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, no, 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 he's a king. Just the word king soils his reputation. It's like putting a spot of ink on a big white sheet. No, no, Niskinchanasya Bhagavat, Bhajanon Mukasya Param Param Jigamashur Bhavasagarasya. Sandarshanam Vishayanam Atayoshitam Cha. Said, I don't even want to see such a person who associates with beautiful wives, beautiful women, material opulence, gold, and so on. And he said, it's like drinking poison, right? In this verse, Jani Mahaprabhu quoted. So Maharaj Prataparuja is so determined. You can imagine he owns elephants and gold and palaces, so much wealth and power. And he said, I'm going to give it all up and become a Kapalika yogi and have a skull and go walking through village to village and beg. I'll become a Kapalika Yoga if I can't meet Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So this is the mood of a devotee. He has no desire. Janiyatu ashu vairagyam. Gyanam chaya the hoitukam. He has no material motive, subtle or gross. Simply has this prema bhakti, this love for the Lord, that if the Lord doesn't want to give me an interview, I give up my entire kingdom with all the wealth and everything. It means nothing. It means zero to me if I can't have association of the Supreme Lord and serve the Vaishnavas who were dancing and chanting with Lord Chaitanya every day of their lives in Jagannath Puri. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Prabhupada said, this kind of determination, drida vrata, this kind of determination is really wanted in spiritual life. If we want to get out of this horrible world, if we want to develop our prema, our love for the Lord, always remembering the Lord, always serving the Lord, always eager to chant the glories of the Lords. So Maharaj Prabhupada is a great example. And we know that he won the favor of Lord Chaitanya, that the Rath Yatra festival, he came out with a broom and he was sweeping in front of the Rath cart, Jagannath cart. And gradually, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, who was very close with Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, advised Prabhupada Maharaj, you simply put on Vaishnav clothing, get rid of your royal garb, and when Lord Chaitanya takes rest at the Aitola Gardens, after having danced in ecstasy, tears were flowing from his eyes, he was completely overwhelmed by this ocean of love of God. He was rolling on the ground. He looked like Mount Meru, a golden mountain. His hairs were standing on end like a simula tree. Tears were running from his eyes like syringe fashion. And he was sprinkling all the devotees with his tears. But then he was exhausted. And Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, he advised King Prataparudra, now you go and Lord Chaitanya will be resting on a bench at the Aitola Gardens on the way to Gundicha Mandir. And you go there, you massage him. So Lord Chaitanya pretended that he didn't recognize this great king. And he was saying, you are my greatest well-wisher. He was reciting songs by the gopis from the 10th canto. So the theme here is that it's very difficult to understand or recognize a devotee of the Lord. He may be surrounded by opulence. He may have many, many children. He may have even very, very luxurious circumstances. But if he sees everything in relationship to Krishna, then within his heart, he's completely renounced, totally renounced from any desire to enjoy. So even having children, it is seen as a service to the Lord, service to the Supreme Lord. Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati used to say, if I could guarantee that I would have hundreds of children if there would be devotees of Krishna like this. So here, Karmana Daivanechana Dehojantu Papatya Striyo Pravishtum Adarat Umsoreta Kanashraya. Lord Kapila Dev describes in this canto here, in the third canto, that by the hand of God, Karmana Daivanechana Dehujantu Papatya, that the soul enters into the semen of the man and then transferred into the womb of the woman, and then the child develops. So by the hand of God, based on one's previous activities, one takes a particular type of body, animal body, demigod body, whatever body, bird body, and so on. But out of the 5 kinds of action, the most important one is the hand of God. that Krishna, being the witness of everything, accompanying us through many, many births and deaths, Brahmanda Brahmite Kona, Bhagavan Jeev, he is running the show. Maya Dyakshena Prakriti Suate Sacharacharam. That he is Akshena, he is a supervisor. So nothing is happening without Krishna's allowance, with his condonement. So it's described by Kapila Dev to his mother that the living entity who is simply pursuing material enjoyment in this world, at the time of his death, all his relatives are surrounding him, and he sees the Yamadutas coming, and he becomes very fearful, and he tries to speak, but he can't speak. And then they take his subtle body along with his soul, and they drag him down the road, going down to Yamaloka. So this is also Krishna saying, Urdvam gachanti shatvaste, madhye tishtanti rajasa, jaganya gunavrittisto, ado gachanti tamasa. That those who die in the mode of ignorance, they go down to the hellish planets, the lower planets, lower species of life. Therefore, Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita also describes a demoniac mentality, a demoniac class of men. Ishvaraham aham bogi. Satyam apratishtam te jagadahura nishram. They say that nothing is eternal, asatyam, there's no truth in life. Apratishtam, there's no creator to this universe. Jagad ahur anishvaram, that the universe just happened by chance, and anishram, there's no controller. So this is the demoniac mentality that we're seeing in modern society today in Kali Yuga, that people are being directed and indoctrinated into the demoniac mentality. Therefore, there's no end to their anxieties. Chintama parimiyam cha pralayanta upashriyata. Until the time of death, they're full of anxiety because the mama maya duratya, maya is working through the modes of passion and ignorance. And in those modes, there's nothing but misery. The Avaduta is describing to Prahlad Maharaj, Shoka Moha Bhaya Krodha, that the symptom, the cause, Yanmula Shunyayam Spriham Pranataya Buddha, the one's intense desire is causing him material desire, intense material desire, Loba Pravitim Aramba, Karmana Ashama Spriha, that in the mode of passion, one has intense desire to accumulate money, to enjoy his senses. Loba, greed, pravitim. He works like a donkey day and night, trying to accumulate more material possessions, somehow trying to become satisfied. This is the problem in our modern society today. Everyone is taking birth, influenced by the modes of passion and ignorance. Dvandva mohena bharata. Samoham samabhu. They're bewildered by the illusory energy of the Lord, the external energy of the Lord, Durga Devi. So therefore, the Avaduta tells Prahlad Maharaj meets this Avaduta in the forest, and he says, Shoka moha bhaya krodha, raga klebya shramadaya, yanmula snurnayam jayat, spriham pranartaya buddha. Shoka means lamentation or hankering and lamentation. Shoka moha, illusion. Bhaya, fear. Krodha, anger. Poverty, shabya, poverty. Yanmula, the root cause of all these things is that people are born into the mode of passion and ignorance. The mode of passion is characterized by intense desire to somehow enjoy this material world. So this is going on. And the Srimad Bhagavatam, in the pages of Bhagavatam, the Sukadev Goswami, the sages of Naimisharanya, Sutta Goswami has accepted Sukadev Goswami also, and they're listening to this narration, and he's giving us this wonderful, profound knowledge, Tadvad Visargo Janataga Viplavo, that is creating a revolution in this world's misdirected civilization. So Srila Prabhupada, he has come to raise us into the mode of goodness and transcendental goodness, whereby we can uplift human society out of this deep, horrible ocean. Kalir dosha nide rajan, asir eko mahatgunan, kirtanad eva krishnasya, mukta sangha param vajat. That by chanting these holy names of the Lord in Kali Yuga, this Sankirtan Yagya, this powerful chanting of the holy names will raise people. This is the great quality in Kali Yuga, that simply by chanting these holy names, which are imbued with so much power, that we can raise people out of this horrible situation they're in. They have no idea what their future is. They don't know what is going to happen to them in a few flickering moments of time. In a few cosmic seconds, they're going to take birth in the lower species of life. Mudho jonisu jayate. They take birth in the animal species of life. Tata pralina stamasa. Mudho jonisu jayate. At the time of death, they, in the mode of ignorance, one takes birth amongst the animal species of life. Very, very unfortunate. And Lord Krishna also says, Aneka chitta vibranta mohajala samavritaha, that they're completely confused, just like fish caught up in a net. Mohajala samavritaha, like fish caught in a net. Prashanta kamabhukishu, they simply want to enjoy their senses. Patanti narakesucho, and therefore they're gliding down to the hellish planets. And there, I remember when Prabhupada had the fifth canto published, and it came out, and it was a description of the hellish planets and the movement of the sun and the structure of the universe, the fifth canto. Srila Prabhupada was looking at the various pictures depicting the punishment given by the Yamadutas. And he had this smile on his face. He was quite amused by the paintings. You know, one who abuses a Vaishnava, he goes to a planet called Suchimukha, where the Yamadutas squeeze all the juice out of his body. And Andita Mishra, one who is having illicit sex, which is very, very sinful, then he has to embrace a hot iron form of a woman or man, depending on what he did. And one who eats the flesh of a cow, he takes birth in Maharorava. And this planet, he's punished by the Rurus, very envious creatures, more described, they're more envious than the snakes, the cobras, and they harass this person and bite him. For every hair on the body of a cow, one birth in these hellish planets. So these are punishment and reward systems. So the living entity, unfortunately, he gets these punishments for his juvenile, his mischievous, sinful activities. Denying the existence of God has become very, very popular. The people who run the educational systems, they're the intellectuals, the academics, they say, oh, there's no God. You're God. Just enjoy life. You're God. You just enjoy. There's no God. Show me God. Like Prabhupada's writing. Show me God. Show me God. I'm God. You know, Ishvaraham abham aham bogi, Siddhaham balavan sukhi. I am the supreme controller. I am very powerful. I am perfect and I'm happy. Who is more better than me? So we see that Hiranyakashipu and Hiranyaksha, they were very fond of, Prabhupada said, very fond of fighting, of conflict. And we see that also in today's world. People are very fond of imposing violence on others, releasing punishment and suffering on others. Part of dukkha dukhi, part of sukha dukhi. They're happy to see others suffering because of their demoniac mentality. So Hiranyakashipu, he stopped the performance of sacrifices. He stopped he destroyed the ashrams of the great sages. Complete demoniac mentality. He even tried to kill his son in so many ways: fire, poison, snakes, sharp weapons, elephants, bull, so many ways. I want to kill devotees. So, demoniac persons, they're very envious of the Vaishnavas. We see that the Vaishnava, although he's trying his best to deliver the souls, to serve the Lord and help the fallen souls, that they also encounter so much opposition, so much antagonism. Therefore, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur said, it's a very thankless task to spread the mission of Lord Chaitanya. Is a thankless task. You have to undergo so many trials and tribulations. Titikshava Kurunika, you have to be very tolerant, and Shama, very forgiving. So these are qualities that develop in a devotee's heart because Krishna himself is purifying his heart. Krishna is the epitome of all good qualities. And Krishna cares so much for his devotees. Therefore, he says, one who says he's my devotee is not my devotee, but one who is a devotee of my devotee. Gopi Bhartu Padala Kamalayor, Dasa Das Anudas. I am a servant of the servants of one who is serving the lotus feet of the Lord. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came, and he came as a devotee. And he was extremely humble. Even when Prakashananda Saraswati was blaspheming him in Benares. Oh, I know that sannyasi. He is sentimental. He's making a show. Very soon he'll be exposed. He was actually blaspheming. He was criticizing the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And yet Lord Chaitanya was thinking, he was telling his devotees, Chandrasekhar and Tapa Mishra, who lived in Varanasi, he's saying, I came here with these wonderful mercy of the holy name. I came to sell my wares, the chanting of the holy name. But here in Varanasi, no one wants to buy it. What is the price? Your desire. That's all. You have to have there's some shraddha, some faith in the holy name, and no one wants to buy it with their faith. He said, I'm willing to give it away. I don't want to carry it with me all the way to Vrindavan and then take it back to Puri. He says, somewhere or other, I'll give a deal. Let me give it. So a Brahmin invited Lord Chaitanya by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's plan. A Brahmin, Sanodiya Brahmin, he was very disturbed at the blasphemy of Saraswati Prakasananda, who was blaspheming Vaishnavas, suffering from leprosy. So he invited Lord Chaitanya to an assembly of these Mayavadis. And Lord Chaitanya went there, and in a humble way, he sat where they washed their feet. And he was glowing like, they were saying, you're glowing like Narayan. And gradually, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu explained the Atmarama verse in 18 different ways. And Prakashananda Saraswati was bestowed with the mercy of God himself. Gauranga Mahaprabhu, so humble. He's God himself. He is the source of both the spiritual and material worlds. He's the source of Lord Shiva, the source of all the demigods. Ahamadirhi Devana. And here he's taking such a humble position. What to speak of us? How humble we have to be and tolerant in this world of demoniac personalities. So Prakashananda Saraswati and all 60,000 disciples were transformed into devotees of Krishna, Vaishnavas. And when Lord Chaitanya was having kirtan a few days later, Prakashananda Saraswati came and joined Lord Chaitanya, saw him, and Lord Chaitanya started offering prayers at the lotus feet of Saraswati Prakashananda. And Prakashananda Saraswati was so embarrassed because he realized this is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So in Kali Yuga, the Lord is especially merciful because we are so fallen. We are extremely patita pavana hetu tava avatar. Mosamo patita prabhu na paibe ar. He's so merciful, so forgiving. He's just taking all the most fallen persons, Jagai and Madai, and he's lifting us up to the platform of Brahmabhuta, to the transcendental platform where we can always remember the Lord. So, why do we do Garbanan Samskar? Why do we chant 50 rounds to conceive a child? Why do we chant 24 hours a day? Srila Prabhupada says this is the yagya of the age. In other ages, they would perform great Ashwamedha yagas and cow sacrifices and give new life to the horses and cows and so on. In the age of Kali, it is simply this Kritayad Dari Kirtanan. Kali Yad Dari Kirtanam. In Kali Yuga, the benefit you get from performing great sacrifices in Tretayam, Yajana, Makai, using opulent situations, fire sacrifices, requiring so much gold and everything, and Dwaparam Paricharyayam, doing very opulent deity worship in Dwapara Yuga, simply Kirtanadiva Krishnasya, simply by chanting these names of the Lord. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Simply by this chanting, we become so purified that even the demigods want to enter into the wombs of the Vaishnavis, into the families, to get this taste, this mercy of Krishna consciousness. So this is the golden age where personalities in this age can become very purified and fulfill the purpose of human life, which is how to love Krishna. All the Goswamis have given us wonderful literatures. Rupa Goswami, Sanatan Goswami, they've all come with Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. They're great personalities, they're Nitya Siddhas, and they're giving us everything. Nana Shastra Vichara Naikanipano Sadharma Samstaparo. Lokanam, for the benefit of the entire world. They're giving us the scriptures, they're explaining the scriptures, they're writing books, guiding us on how to attain the highest purpose of human life. Prema Pomartha Mahan, how to love Krishna, how to love the Supreme Lord. So even those who are born in demonic families, like Bali Maharaj, he was born in a demonic family. His grandfather was Prahlad, but Prahlad preached to him at a very early childhood. He preached to Bali. So Bali understood that Vishnu is the supreme absolute truth. So even we're born in very dark situations, we can also get the mercy of the Lord. If we meet and get the mercy of a great devotee like Srila Prabhupada, through his Vani, we can become purified. Through his instructions, we can associate with him. Naishamati Stavadurukramingrim Srishatananarpatinojarta. Mahiya Sampada Rajobhishekam. If we take Abhishek from the dust of Srila Prabhupada's lotus feet and his predecessor acharyas, we can bathe in this mercy of pure bhakti yoga, bhakti rasamrita sindhu, become purified, and by our examples, we can attract millions and millions of souls into the arms of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So thank you very much for allowing me to say a few words tonight. Um, yeah, I take a few comments or questions.
Hare Krishna.
Haribol.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji. The way, the manner you speak is always beautiful. And I think the flower gem to that beauty also is how you quote the Sanskrit and I think the Chaitanya Charitamrita is in Bengali, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And the way you quote them, and they are very relevant to what you're talking about. In my culture, it is said that it is bad to say that you wish you were somebody. But I wish I could quote verses just like you do. It's very beautiful. I believe Srila Prabhupada had said that we are not Sanskrit scholars, we are not Bengali scholars. Nevertheless, he also encouraged us to study these verses and quote them to substantiate what we're saying. So it's very exemplary, very beautiful. Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Hamsadita Prabhu, you have something to ask or to share? Please unmute. Hare Krishna.
Yes, thank you so much for the opportunity. Thank you so much, Grace, for the wonderful class. And I'm very happy to hear from you again. All glory to Jagat Prabhupada and all glory to wonderful assembled devotees. So before I came to Krishna consciousness, my mentality was that the soul's forms or the human being forms when the sperm enters the womb. But when I come to Krishna consciousness, I realized that the soul is already in the sperm before it goes to the womb of the mother. So my question is that the consciousness of the soul changes when the father and the mother was having affair, or the soul, or the conscious is already there with the soul. Either he's going to be a good person or a bad person. How does it happen? If you can help me to understand that. Because Prahlad Maharaj his father was a demon. So a demon was always thinking about something which is not good. And he have affair with her wife. So when Narada Muni come and take him, and he was sharing the Vedas and everything, that is what my understanding is. But the soul comes, it is said that the environment and everything which you have to born depend on your past karma. So what I want to understand, that can the consciousness of the father can change something from you, or it has to be like how you come because of your karma? This is my humble question. Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji, I hope you got his question.
I hope so too.
Well, okay. The bottom line of his question is that before he joined Hare Krishna, he had a different thought of the soul, how the soul enters into this world. But since he joined Hare Krishna movement, he is understanding that the soul first gets into the father, the semen of the father, and then the father passes it on to the mother, to the wife's womb. So his question is, did the soul that entered into the semen of the father, the consciousness of that particular soul gets influenced or changed by the father or by the father and the mother's consciousness? Because Sri Prabhupada was saying something to that effect. And if that is the case, and that is why he was making reference to Prahlad, that Hiranyakashipu was a demon, so he has demoniac mentalities. But he gave birth to a son who is a pure devotee. So he wants to find out whether the consciousness of the soul gets affected by the consciousness of the parents or not.
Of course. That's the whole gist of this particular purport, is that the mentality of the father and mother.
Thank you, Agrees, for explaining it better for me. Thank you.
So it's transferred into the consciousness of the child. So Hiranyakashipu is demoniac. However, divine intervention. Narada Muni is Deva Rishi. He is the sage of all the Devas. Deva Rishi Naradastata. He's a great empowered personality. Although we know in his previous life, he was the son of a maidservant who was serving the rishis and sages in the forest. And he would get the remnants, Narada Muni would get the remnants of their prasadam, and he would hear their katha. So the message is, regardless of how contaminated you are, if you receive the mercy, even a moment's association of a great devotee of the Lord, there's a famous verse like that, Lava Matra, Sadhu Sangha Sava Siddhi Hoy, you can become perfect. So Narada Muni intervened, divine intervention, by the grace of the Lord's plan, to teach us, first of all, that even the most demoniac offspring can become great, great devotees of the Lord by the power of the empowered servants of the Lord. So there's a verse also in the second canto, Kirata Hunanja Pulinda Pukash, Ambir Shambhaya Vanaka Shadaya, that even those persons who, tribal people and so on, Attila the Hun, different types of people who are very low-born, Yene Chata Papa Tadapa Shraya Shraya, Sudyanti Tasmai, if they meet a great personality, a great, great devotee of the Lord, they can become also pure devotees of the Lord. Narada Muni and Parvat Muni, they met Mrigari the hunter in the forest, and he was half killing animals, but they converted him into being a great devotee. So regardless of how demoniac the situation on conception day between your parents, who were perhaps like my parents, they didn't know anything. They're malechas, fifth class people, eating cows every day, drinking alcohol. That's the culture of the West. By Prabhupada's mercy and by the sincere desire of people to find the truth, Srila Prabhupada has transformed us into devotees of the Lord, at least neophyte devotees, but still we're trying to please the Lord and follow the instructions of the great Acharya. Tat kat karma pravartanat, follow in the footsteps of the great Acharyas. So yes, the mentality of your mother or your father may have been in the mode of ignorance, but the Lord is so merciful that if the sincere soul is searching for the truth sincerely, then Guru Krishna Prasade Pai Bhakti Lata Beach, Krishna will bring you to the proper guru. So it is more than just the mentality of the parents that is in your destiny. In Kali Yuga, the great devotees of the Lord will travel all over the universe, all over the world, all over this planet to deliver the fallen conditioned souls and connect them to the great Acharya, Srila Prabhupada. And Srila Prabhupada's words are very, very powerful. They're empowered by Krishna himself. Every word in Prabhupada's purport is embellished with Krishna's power, Krishna's potency. So here we have the Hare Krishna movement with millions of people who have been transformed from demoniac to divine.
Yes, thank you. Thank you so much for the wonderful, wonderful answer. This says how so fortunate we are to be in the Krishna consciousness. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Yes, Haridas Thakur asked Lord Chaitanya, who is the most unfortunate person? And Lord Chaitanya said, one who has come to Krishna consciousness and then gives it up is the most unfortunate of all different types of people. That you get this great gift, this great treasure. Very rare to get this treasure of love of God in the disciplic succession coming from the Supreme Lord who walked on this planet 540 years ago. And then you suddenly, due to a poor mentality, weak mind, weak faith, oh, I give it up. I can't do this. There's so many faults. There's so many problems. So much this. So no. The path is very challenging. That's for sure. But you never give it up. Do not give up this path. Avoid offenses to the holy name. Avoid the mind's criticism, kutinati, fault-finding devotees. No, we want to push the devotees up. If they're in a better situation, push them up. Para sukha sukhi. We're happy to see devotees becoming more blessed by Krishna. So we avoid this mentality, fault-finding, kutinati, jiva hinsa, feeling angry or envious of other devotees. Nirmatsaranam, non-envy. This is very important in our spiritual life. Krishna tells Arjuna in the 12th chapter all the qualities of devotees, how to please him. And one of them is amanitvam. Amanitvam means to respect everyone, like amanina manadena, amanitvam, have full respect for all living beings, and never expect any respect for yourself. Never be motivated for fame, power, position, recognition. Look at me, look at what don't you know who I am? Don't you know who I am? You know, I've been in the movement for 30 years. Who are you? Ahankara vimudatma. So we have to be controlling and purifying our hearts and minds so that we stay in the process and go back home, back to Godhead, that we, at the time of death, remember the name of Krishna. Hare Krishna. Prabhupada showed us how to leave the world also. At the time of leaving, he said, Hare Krishna.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. I'm so grateful. Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Well, thank you. Prabhuji, I have one question, which is more or less like the devil's advocate. Srila Prabhupada in the last sentence of the beautiful purport was encouraging us to study the science of conception, like how a soul comes into this earth planet. And I had read and also heard from Srila Prabhupada a couple of times that when the loving entity is to enter into this world, the loving entity comes into this world through the rain. And from the rain, the soul enters. That at this point, I'm not sure how, but the loving entity enters into grains. I'm not sure whether as it is falling from the sky, it gets into the grains, or it gets into the earth, and then from the earth gets into the grain. But the bottom line is it gets into the grain, and when the grain is consumed, then the loving entity, as we read in here, is covered by the semen of the man, and the man passes it on to the woman.
That's the process.
Okay, so if this is the process, and supposedly the only process, then my question is, that's why I said this is the devil's advocate question. My question and bewilderment is, does that mean that those who are fruitarians, because there are some few people in this world, they only eat fruits and vegetables. Then how do these people get in contact with the soul to pass it on to the mother? This is my devil advocate's question.
Okay.
Hare Krishna.
I think now the defense lawyer will, like, if I'm the defense lawyer, I'm in trouble. I'm in trouble here because, yeah, you're right. It does say grain. The grain transferred into the semen. Oh my gosh. Yes, sometimes in Prabhupada's teachings, the purports, there's like a conflict. Like he'll say one thing, then say something else.
Yes.
Like that happens.
Yeah, it does.
So,
well, in fact, when you were speaking, I'm sorry, cutting you short, when you were speaking, and actually when you were reading, when you read that part and you were speaking, I was thinking to myself, well, Srila Prabhupada is encouraging us all to study this science. So I think it's a homework for all of us. But you may go ahead if you have something to say in regards to the question.
I think you stumped me here. I accept defeat. Somehow or other, the soul will transform into the fruit.
Yeah.
And the vegetables somehow.
Yeah.
And gradually enter, because, I suppose that's a general description. What if a person, I know people are also, they're carnivorous. They don't eat vegetables.
Yeah. Yeah.
They're on this strange diet of just meat.
Yes.
And it's very healthy. They say it's very healthy and so on. So again,
yeah,
they impregnate their wives or whatever.
Of course.
So the ultimate answer would be Adistanam tata kartam karnan chapritak vidam vidvidam japritak cheshtam daivam chaivatra panchamam. 5 factors of action given in the 18th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. Adishtanam, time and place. Kartam, the action itself. Karanam, the instruments of action would be the senses and the mind, the subtle sense. Chapritag Vidam, Vidam Chapritag Cheshtam, then the time, and then Cheshtam means number 4 is the endeavor of the living being.
Yeah.
And then the 5th one is Daivam, God himself, the hand of God. So you may have so much karma, great karma, but if God decides, no, sorry, I'm going to intervene here. I'm going to either give you some big test, or I'm going to bless you, or I'm going, in other words, everything has to be endorsed or condoned by the 5th element. The 5th element being Daivam, God himself. He makes the final decision. Therefore, although Jai and Vijay were cursed by the Kumaras, and Lord Vishnu had to, or Narayan had to honor their curse, he made it so that actually Hiranyakashipu gets to fight with Lord Nrsingadev.
Yeah.
You know, he gets touched by God. God is all over him. God is Garland is intestine. You know? So it's not an ordinary demon birth.
Yeah.
Definitely, you can take birth of a demon and never get touched by God.
Yeah.
But here we see that ultimately the 5th element, deciding factor, kind of can change everything. It can change all the rules. Krishna is above the rules. He can change the conventional way of things that are going to happen. He can change your destiny. You know, we have destiny based on our previous activities, but then Krishna can come in and go, okay, Bilvamangal Thakur, you had a prostitute. You were completely addicted to this woman, but here, I'm gonna fix this so that you become a pure devotee. And so Chintamani told him, oh, if only you had so much devotion for God. And of course, Bilvamangal Thakur got the message and went to Vrindavan, and is a great, great devotee of the Lord. When Lord Chaitanya found the manuscript of Karnamrita, Krishna Karnamrita, a book describing Krishna's pastimes by Bilvamangal Thakur, of all the books he could have taken, he took this book by Bilvamangal Thakur. God himself wanted to absorb in this book, Krishna Karnamrita, and of course the Brahma Samhita. He got those 2 books in South India. So my point is, God's final plan for you is the overriding element of all your karma and action, place, time, circumstance, endeavor, your senses, the action. It doesn't matter. If Krishna wants to, if Krishna decides he has a plan for you, you better be ready to take it on, you know.
Yeah.
That's the point there. So in general, of course, the grains, the semen goes in the grain, the soul goes in the grain, then the man eats the grain, and so on.
Yeah.
That's the conventional way, or the standard. That's the standard. But fruitarians, I mean, then Krishna has to make a different arrangement.
Yes. Yeah. In
Yeah.
fact, Prabhu, as you were, thank you so much. As you were answering, I was thinking, I said, well, there have been not many cases, but there have been few cases where there have been virgin conceptions. So what do we say to that? So I think that the 5 factors you gave makes a lot of sense, that at the end of the day, Krishna's, the hand of the Lord, is the most important factor.
Yeah, over.
Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, because
Prabhu. Okay. Yes, Prabhu, you go ahead.
no,
Yeah,
there's
sorry.
an apps. Go ahead. You can ask a question. Go
Okay,
ahead.
Shrimara Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Thank you very much, Prabhu. Please accept my obeisances.
All right.
Slick man, Prabhu.
Happy at Seva anytime you come here. Well, just a little contribution to the question Sahadid Prabhu just asked. You mentioned many things which clarifies the point. But I think the verse that answers this question is chapter 14, text 4, Bhagavad Gita. Krishna says, Sava Yonisu Kunteya Muttaya Sabhavantiya. Tasam Brahma Mahayoni Aham Bija Pradapita. So Krishna explains, it should be understood that all species of life, O son of Kunti, are made possible by birth in this material nature, and that I am the seed-giving Father. So everything, in the purpose, Srila Prabhupada explained, some living entities are born through sweat. Some are born through, by hair, in the hair, etc. So, so Krishna is the seed-giving Father, no matter what form that living entity comes. That is chapter 14, text 4. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. That was very enlightening, illuminating that Krishna is the ultimate Father. That's very, very important to remember. Of course, he says, Nachamat Bhutani Pasame Yoga Maishwaram Bhuta Brinnata Bhuta Sto Mamatma Bhuta Bhavya Daha in the 10th chapter. That although I am in everyone and everything is contained in me, just see my mystic opulence. Pashami Yoga Maishwaram, just see my mystic opulence. Everything's in me and I am everywhere and everything, every atom, everyone's heart, every being. He says, still, I remain aloof from it all in the Goloka Vrindavan. So, although he's the Father, he's not busy like Lord Brahma generating all the species. He empowers Lord Brahma, and Lord Brahma generates the various species. It's kind of a top-down system from the highest. The Prajapatis are produced by Brahma, and then they produce all different types of species of life. This is explained in the Vishnu Purana and other Puranas, but especially cosmology and speciation is described in the Vishnu Purana. Other Puranas as well, Garuda Purana, Padma Purana. How, serpents are produced, the Naga, there's beings who look very serpentine. There's Gandharvas, people who are have mystic powers, who are musically gifted, and so on. All types of species are generated by the agents of Lord Krishna, the Brahma, and the Manus and the demigods and so on, the Prajapatis, Daksha, for example. So although he's the father of all living beings, there's definitely a breakdown and it's kind of a scale system down to the last germ. There must be some somehow or other germs are also taking birth in perspiration, right? And so on. The whole cosmic show is going on by the invisible hand of God. And people say, oh, this is all mythology and hocus pocus. But their explanations of Darwin's theory of evolution from, bottom up kind of idea that natural selection on genetic mutation is creating different. That's also a kind of mythology. They have no clue. They have no idea how, nature, which is a machine that's created by God, can produce different species. They say natural selection, but nature has no intentionality. It's a machine. Someone has to run the machine. So they may, criticize that we're mythologists and so on, hocus pocus, blah, blah, blah. But unfortunately, the time of death, they will see the Lord in his horrible form. Unfortunately. So we have to go on. It's an act of faith. Atheism is a religion, basically. It's a religion. They believe there's no God. They don't want to believe in God. And then they make up some some theories like evolution, Big Bang. Even the impersonalist Bhaktisiddhanta said that the Mayavad philosophy is extremely demoniac because they're taking away God's ears, God's eyes, God's limbs. They're just cutting everything off and saying that, Krishna just came from the Brahman. He's a material form. So it's very, very demonic, very insulting, very abusive, and offensive blasphemous to Krishna. So Lord Chaitanya is very strong, more strong against the Mayavadi philosophers than even the Karmakandis, the people who worship demigods and so on for material benefit. He said the worst are the Advaitists.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
thank you so much, Prabhuji. Shivara Prabhu, is this your previous hand raised or is current?
No.
Okay.
I have a question.
Okay, go ahead.
Prabhu, just quickly. So the Mayavadis, they are more or less like atheistic, and there are other concepts. There are other religious concepts. Like in Africa, we have animism. But I just want to know under what category does this fit in the Vedic system of beliefs? We have. I mean, they are like animists. They are like pantheists. But does this have any correlation in the Vedic system? They are not Mayavadis. They like you rightly said that the Mayavadis are cutting off the hands, the legs, and everything of the Supreme Lord. But the animists actually believe in the hands, legs of God in the universal form. So the trees, mountains, the rivers, they worship these things, as part of God or as God manifestation. So this is another concept of religion or worship. But what name does that have in the Sanskrit term?
Well, Srila Prabhupada has said, and in his classes and the description in the second canto, that those who worship the universal form of the Lord, which is described in Srimad Bhagavatam, the trees are the hairs of the Lord, the rivers are the veins of the Lord, the ocean are the abdomen of the Lord. This is the Virat Rupa form. Prabhupada said oftentimes, and even in purports, that this is for the very beginning persons, like very neophyte persons, that they can relate to God through the phenomenal world of nature, trees, and so on. And therefore, it's a form of God consciousness. Like Krishna says, Rasoham apsukunteya prabhashmi sashi shuryayo. He goes on and on saying, I'm the pure taste of water. I am the light of the sun and the moon. Of fish I am the shark. Of mountains I am Mount Sumeru. It goes on and on. So if people want to worship God's creation, that is also a form. Now, is there a Vedic kind of categorization for this kind of worship? I don't know what the technical word would be, per se, but it is a form of God worship. Srila Prabhupada had mentioned it's for the very beginning stages of God realization, to worship the material phenomena as part of, in one sense, God's energy and God the energetic are the same in one sense.
I think the Virat Rupa worship, Prabhuji, you just described, fits into the animism approach in African tradition.
It's not that you're condemned to hell because,
No, we don't condemn it. No,
I'm saying,
it's beginning. They also practice. Yes.
Yeah, in the 12th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Krishna tells Arjuna, look, if you can't, if you can't
Do this.
surrender, if you can't surrender to me and engage in bhakti yoga, if you can't do bhakti yoga, then he says, then you work for me. Okay, if you can't work for me, then you should cultivate knowledge about me. So that would be the Virat Rup. Like, I know that God's energy is like this and this. But then he gives another concession. If you can't even cultivate knowledge of me, at least you should renounce the fruits of your action. In other words, giving charity to me and so on. Renounce the fruits of your action. Don't be attached to the fruits that your action gives. So Krishna obviously gives all kinds of concessions to different classes of people. And this is something that is very much highlighted in the Vedic culture. It's not that, oh, geez, you accept the great, Bhagavad Gita or you go to hell,
Yeah. Yeah.
A kind of, Krishna is very merciful. And
Very.
Lord Chaitanya, yeah. So we have to understand and be very, very compassionate. I know people that join our movement, they come to the temple, but they can't give up non-veg. They eat fish, for example. But they chant Hare Krishna. And Lord Chaitanya met a fisherman. The fisherman caught Lord Chaitanya in the ocean and pulled him in. And the fisherman got to touch the God himself. So the idea is compassion, feel oneself very fallen. I'm the most fallen. How can I help this person? How can I help them make some advancement? Okay, you worship the trees, you worship animals, it's a manifestation of God. These are tribal kind of religions. They're also in northern Canada. I was meeting with the Eskimo people, and they believe in the animal spirit. They believe in the wolf spirit. They believe in the raven spirit, and they believe that they call it the great father. He's in all living beings, and even when they catch a seal, they offer it to the great force, the great father, and then they eat it because there's no vegetables in the Arctic Circle, but because of they're in touch with nature by living with nature, they have some understanding from super soul that all living beings are his eternal parts. So it's a form of God consciousness for sure.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Of course, as always. Anyone with something else to ask or to share? Prabhuji, are you speaking from India?
I'm what?
Are you speaking from India?
Yeah, from Mayapur, yeah.
From Mayapur, okay. I asked because of the time. It's getting a little late. Hamsadita Prabhu, yes, please, you may unmute.
Yes, Your Grace. Thank you once again. I don't have a question again, but I want to clarify something.
Okay.
Yesterday, the question I asked was wrong. I had opportunity to speak with His Grace Harichakra, and he was corrected me and give me more enlightenment of the question. So I just want to clarify that, because what I asked about the Moses breaking the 10 Commandments and he was punished for that, it was not that. It was something else when he break the rock. So
Yeah.
I asked him rock questions. That is what I wanted to correct and say thank you to him for the explanation. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Harichakra Prabhu, please, you may unmute.
Yeah. Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Hare
Dandavat Pranam.
Yeah.
All glories to
pronounced.
Prabhupada, and all glories to you, and all glories to the assembled devotees.
Yes.
Thank you very much for the in-depth explanation that you've given. Yeah, even though my question seemed to have been answered because of the answer you gave to Saturday Prabhu, but I'm also thinking that I also heard that sometimes during the inauspicious hours, Lord Shiva will be moving with his disciples, and then if you happen to have what do we call it, an affair, a couple is happen to have an affair during that period, then Lord Shiva can toss you one of the souls.
Well,
So
yeah, so that's described in the third canto.
yeah, so that's why I was also thinking that was it also the reason why uh Kashyapa Muni was telling Diti
Aditi.
that this is inauspicious time and Lord Shiva will be coming around.
Mm-hmm.
So okay, so it means some souls are given in a different special way, not necessarily having to go through the grains and the
The
sperm and
general,
all that.
yeah. Okay. Okay. I see what you mean. Prabhuji, you get what he's saying? Yeah, he's saying it that just like you rightly referenced in Canto 3, we read that how Kashyapa Muni was asked by his wife Diti to meet with her, and Kashyapa Muni was saying, "This is inauspicious time," but she didn't listen. So Arichakra Prabhu is saying that during such inauspicious times, Lord Shiva and his followers are moving around, traveling around, and they're looking for an opportunity to have a body. So if one makes himself available, then Lord Shiva may toss one of his followers to assume a body through that conjugal relationship. And so he is saying that it seems like it is not always the case that the soul will have to come through the rain into the grain and then be passed on. There are other instances where the souls may be passed on. That is what he's saying. I wanted to see your response to what he's thinking.
Well, for sure, we want to have conception of a child at the most auspicious times astrologically, right? Now, it's described that when night is coming and day is going, twilight zone, then Lord Shiva and his followers, who are Bhutas and goblins,
Yeah.
all these things, they're all in the mode of ignorance. He's in charge of beings in the mode of ignorance. They can have an influence on the womb, on the parents. Now, at the same time, we know that that because of your karma, you get a certain mother and father, whether it's, it means it could be an animal mother and father or a human mother and father. In this case, Diti and Kashyapa having copulation at the wrong time was influenced by the mode of ignorance. And by that mode of ignorance influence, Jai and Vijay entered Diti's womb. So the lesson here is that we should choose the most auspicious time. I don't think it's mentioned in that particular chapter, Diti's seducing her husband, that Lord Shiva threw one of his goblins into her womb. But the influence was there. Lord Shiva is very powerful. These entities are very, very powerful. In fact, Prabhupada would say there are ghosts moving around, and he would say if you have to chant Hare Krishna to dispose of them, to eject them out of that space which you're in. And he did that, of course, at John Lennon, the Beatles house. There's a whole story how he had them exorcise a ghost. So the ghosts have negative, very negative influence on your sacred space, on your space, or on people's consciousness. That's for sure. Whether Shiva threw one of his followers into Diti's womb, that was not precisely explained or explicitly explained in that chapter. Just that the influence, and she kept them in the womb for 100 celestial years because she knew, oh my God, I've behaved like a prostitute and violated the rules and regulations for conception and so many things. So that is the lesson that we have to take from this. The lesson is be careful and do it very carefully and scientifically when you're conceiving a child. That is the lesson here. Prabhupada said it should be carefully studied, and it's a very great science. That science is unknown to the world today, but we are learning the science, and we can produce very, very saintly children if we do it right and be God conscious, Krishna conscious at the time of conception. It's very important. And the right time. What is the right time? Astrologers could tell us, well, it's very auspicious in this time of the day. Of course, Mangal, what's it called? Brahma Muhurta hour is very auspicious because the ether is much cleaner before everyone wakes up and goes to work through the actors. So we know that the Brahma Muhurta time is very, very conducive for spiritual activities. Therefore, we rise at 4 o'clock. Yeah.
I'm laughing so hard because Brahma Muhurta is the auspicious time to possibly have the best of the souls. And Brahma Muhurta, everybody is busy and paying obeisances in the temple room. So how do we invite these souls? But the other question I have is this. No, I don't think it's a question. I think it's already answered. Yeah, I think it's already answered. Govinda Prabhu has something to ask or to say. Govinda Prabhu. And please, this may be the last question because Prabhuji will have to take rest to attend Mangarati. We're talking about Brahma Muhurta. Govinda Prabhu, please, you be on mute and go ahead. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhu. Prabhu, my respectful obeisances to you, and my obeisances to the devotees. And thank you very much for this juicy presentation. Wonderful.
Govinda Das, thank you very much, Haribo.
You're welcome, Prabhu.
He's our modern day Garuda. He's always, he's our modern day Garuda.
Garuda.
Yes.
Very good.
Yes.
Yes, Prabhu. My question is, it's about the subtle body. We all know that we have the physical body, we have subtle body, and then there is the soul. And the soul dwells within the subtle body. And so we have the experience when the body is asleep. Then the subtle body carries the soul in a dreaming state. And so in a dreaming state, there are many activities that we perform. So, so this brings the understanding that the soul is always active, whether we are alive or dead. Unless unless you draw the line there between a dead person and a person who is alive in terms of the activeness of the soul within the subtle body. Otherwise, we can say that the subtle body is always active because the soul is there. So my question is that where does the subtle body dwells after he has left the physical body? Because if the soul has to come through the rain for it to take birth, does it mean that that soul and the subtle within the subtle body has been captured or has been conditioned within an ether or a space, or where? What happened to the subtle body when we leave the physical body? And is the subtle body still active?
Yeah, so
yeah.
These are very technical descriptions. Now, Prabhupada mentions in a few places, now I'd have to research. In one purport, he says the soul is being suspended in the 5 pranas, which travel through the heart. So these pranas are suspending the soul within the heart. And of course, we know the super soul is also in the heart. Now, where is the subtle body? The subtle body, the mind, is generated. There's pictures, there's sound in our mind, but it's internal and it's connected to the hard drive of the brain, the neurons firing. So we know that it's something like a computer. You have the hardware, then you have the software, which is very subtle. So this idea, the ideas we have, this vision we have within our mind, and the sound we have within our mind, these are what they call epiphenomena, or very abstract kind of expressions coming from the brain's activities, but they're subtle. And then everything's contained within the ether. The subtle body is contained within the ether. But the ahankar, the false ego, is also very subtle. So that's Indriyani Paranya, Hur Indriyani Paramanaha, Manasastu Parabuddhi, Yo Buddhi, like that verse. So as far as technically, I personally wouldn't know how to tell you exactly. We know that just like in a movie theater, the camera projects an idea onto a screen. It's not really a house there. When you write code, for example, the house is red. It's an idea that's conveyed. It's somewhere in the ether, but the house isn't really there. So it's an abstract. So these subtle energies are real, and they're configured into an idea which conveys something. That's what they call coding systems in computer jargon, right? So the soul itself is carried by these airs, which it's covered by the mana and the buddhi and the ahankara is covered, and it's carried, of course, either by the Vishnu Dutas, take you to Vaikuntha, or by the hand of God, or his agents. The Yamadutas are agents of God, depending on your karma. But we know that Yam Yam Vapi Smaran Bhava, and wherever your mind is at the time of death, because your heart's desires are there, then the agents of Krishna carries your subtle body, which contains your soul. Your soul never dies, right? But it's the subtle body is with the soul. The gross body, that's done. That's finished. Bumir Apanalovayu, fire, air, water, and so on. Fire, air, water, earth, and so on. But the subtle body carries you. It's described in the Gita, just like the air carries aromas as it travels through different places, it carries aromas. So the soul in its conceptions has different conceptions as it goes through life. So these are analogies. Technically, I personally can't really tell you, like, it's like, what's the mechanism? What's the mechanism that's the soul animates the subtle body? Now some agents come and you get a demigod body, or you get, punished in hell, and then you take an animal body. This is described, of course, if you die in the mode of goodness. Urdvam gachanti shatvasta, you go to a heavenly planet. So what's going to the heavenly planet is your subtle body and your soul. And then you get a nice demigod body. But if you, were not a good person, you were bad, you go downwards in a lower species. I imagine there's some more technical explanations than I can offer you, but definitely your subtle body doesn't just disintegrate when the gross body disintegrates. Your subtle body continues throughout your life, throughout next. Prabhupada says that a human being who is born in the mode of ignorance comes from a monkey. A human born in the mode of passion comes from a lion. And a human birth in the mode of goodness comes from a cow. So he does mention that, but there must be so many subtle and mystical arrangements. Mystical is all I could, accredit that to.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji.
Yeah, thank you, Prabhu. Yeah. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Well, Prabhuji, we can't thank you enough for always giving us your association, giving us your precious time. And in case you should be late for Mangarati, we're going to pray to Shri Guru and Krishna that they understand what we made you go through. So dear devotees, we're going to humbly request you all to kindly unmute yourselves, and we all with one love, one heart, chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra to express our deepest appreciation and gratitude to our beloved uncle and great uncle, His Grace KRIPANIDHI Prabhu, for sharing his love with us all. Jai. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna,
Hare
Krishna, Krishna, Hare
Hare
Hare Rama, Hare
Krishna,
Rama,
Hare Krishna,
Rama
Krishna, Hare Hare.
Rama Rama Hare Hare. Jai.
All brothers and friends,
I just saw this as a trash because he didn't